Hello, everyone. Yes, it is I, Viney Moreno. Just kidding, Vinay Moreno. And sitting in front of me is...
Wow. What a disappointing crescendo that was. It's just me, guys. Hello.
He's back from camp.
I am back. Welcome into the pre-show for the free show. I am back. I was out last week. A lot of us were out. Sounds like it sounds like all of your work parents were out last week.
You guys are all my work parents. Everyone was not.
So did you guys just eat bagel bites for every meal and drink all sorts of Mountain Dew?
Carter ordered Starbucks every day.
Oh, and he can't be allowed around the caffeine. This is why we need adults in the room. I am back. I was gone last week. I appreciate Vinay Moreno and Carter Yates and Greg Powers for holding it down.
Yes.
TFT while I was gone last week. I was out. I don't think I've ever really talked about this. I haven't been really shy about it, but I don't think I've really talked about this. But once a year around this time, I take a week off of work and I go to camp. So it's hard to explain. I've been involved with an organization here in North Texas called Camp RYLA, R-Y-L-A. It stands for Rotary Youth Leadership Award. It's through local Rotary clubs around the greater DFW to East Texas area, all the way up to Texoma and Sherman, etc. And what it is that it is a scholarship given to promising young men and women who are just finishing up their junior year, and they get to go to a leadership camp for a week. And I volunteer with that organization because I was actually a camper back in 2003. I should have sent you a photo.
Oh, man. And I was asking you about it today, too.
18-year-old Greg as an assistant counselor at Camp Ryland in 2004. Yeah, my bad. I could have gotten that to you.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll send it to you and you get it. This will be a lateral tease. A vertical tease. You can, if you stick around to the end of the show, you can see that picture.
Yes.
How about that? Because I can send the V. Anyway, and it's an organization that empowers young leaders, across North Texas. It's something I'm very passionate about. It's a labor of love. I don't go on vacation. You know what I mean? I go to a camp and essentially work for an entire week, but it is the most rewarding work that you can do because you are helping kind of shape the next generation of young leaders across and I get to pay forward a gift that I was given, some 22 years ago. And it's a lot of fun. I'm the opening night keynote speaker, and then the rest of the time I'm just working. My job is actually I'm in charge of facilities.
Wow!
So this is true. Part of my job at camp is plunging toilets.
He's in charge.
That's a real fact. That's a true fact.
I would love to see that. I want a picture of that because
it's look, it's. As I've said, if you're too big for the small things, you're too small for the big things, right? Like I'm a spoke in the wheel of this organization, and it's very empowering for me. This fills my cup when I go every year because I'm working for a purpose that I believe in, and also I'm working with people that I love and care about who are all become some of my very best friends that have that are all working united towards a common purpose, and that's really fun. And
that's awesome.
And I would just say to you, find your people, and go and work with them on something, and volunteer your time. That is one of those things that I think volunteering is something that has been really gratifying for me.
Yeah.
And if we all. I think that's that kind of service-oriented thought is really powerful, And I got to spend a week doing it. And it's a lot of fun, too. Like, don't feel bad for me. I got to go and have a great time with, like, a ton of my best friends. My wife is so important to this, too, because she stayed home and watched the boys.
Aww.
And while I was gone. And so I, like, abandoned my wife and kids for a week to go play at camp. But she's so important to this, too, because she allows me to go and do that. And that's awesome. Hank did make an appearance at camp. It was the first time he'd ever come to camp. He went and stayed a couple of nights at Dee Dee's house.
Aww.
And they live locally. And so Dee Dee and Hank came to camp one night, and he thought it was awesome.
Oh, I bet.
He thought it was so much fun. I mean, there's 187 young men and women, 187 juniors who just graduated or just finished their junior year, and then it's another 60-something staff members. And it's just the energy's so good and so positive and
Everyone's
so supportive.
excited.
He thought it was awesome. He got to judge the yell off,
Okay.
which he thought was awesome. Oh yeah, every cabin's got to have their own yell.
That's
you know what
cool.
I mean?
Like, is it like a kind of chant? Or
Oh
is it
yeah.
just, okay.
And
cool.
dancing and stuff like that. It's good times.
I will say this to the
Yeah.
audience as well, that whenever I saw you in your office and I was talking to you, because every time I come into the office, I say hi to you, and I go and talk to you, and you just seemed so zen and peaceful and easy-minded. Like you had left kind of chaotic, and then you came back and you're like, I'm back.
Oh, and by the way, I want to make sure I give some credit to my employer too, because there are different committees at camp, and one of the committees is we put together a morning show. It's like a morning announcement type show called Good Morning Ryla.
Oh, okay.
And my friend Kristen and Aaron and John and I put it together with the campers. The campers are in charge of it, but Dave Campbell's does allow us to use some of the equipment, like some of our equipment that you helped me pack it up on Friday.
Yes.
That I got to bring to camp, and it was great. It's it's just in a good place.
Aww.
It's
Good morning.
it's very centering, and it allows you to focus on the things that are important, and. Yeah, it's just a good time. So if you have the means to go out there and volunteer your time towards a common good, then that would be a good deal. Go do that, or don't. I don't know.
Get up and get out of there. Or you never know what you could find at your next camp. You could figure out that you have sleep apnea.
Yeah. The other thing is, like, I don't go and sleep. Like, VNA knows I don't sleep well away from home.
Yeah, no.
And then you add in the fact that we have a 6 a.m. staff meeting every morning. By the way, you know what you would like? You know what we kick off every day at camp with? I'm dead serious. The entire camp, calisthenics.
Calisthenics?
Yeah. Like jazzercise.
Oh.
It's a good bit.
So we should do that here?
I think it's a good idea.
Brooke would love that, actually.
A friend of mine from camp, the morning of his wedding, they did calisthenics.
Wow.
It's a good deal.
I think. Brooke
Anyway, I'm back. Happy to be back. Hit the theme expo. Yes, y'all. From the new Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas. It is Texas Football Today, a show on the internet. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the editor-in-chief of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine and TexasFootball.com. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live at TexasFootball.com, on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, all of those crazy, wacky places, or you're listening to us. Are we on Instagram?
We on Instagram.
And on Instagram.
We on the gram.
We're gramming. Look how hard we're gramming. Or you listen to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I am sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good in glorious 1080p, high definition. They call her HDV stands for High Definition VNA Moreno.
HDV.
Hi.
HDV. What's up? Hey,
Did
guys.
you miss me?
Yeah, I did.
You don't have to lie to me just because I asked you the question on live air. You don't have to lie. It's fine. Today is Monday, June 2nd, 2025. Oh, hey, happy Pride to the homies. 178 days to Thanksgiving. Happy birthday. Do you have any friends who are born today?
Not today.
Okay, let's see. According to the internet, today is also
Adam
the
Scott.
birthday of... boy. Nobody I've ever... All of these YouTube people.
I need to start.
Who could
looking up.
possibly care about all these? Oh, Zachary Quinto turns 48 today. Happy birthday to actor Zachary Quinto. He played
Happy
Spock
birthday.
in the Star Trek reboot in
Oh,
2009.
Sam. Shout out to Sam.
It's episode 1863. On today's show, folks, big show. We got headlines from across the state, including the latest 7-on-7 news and notes as we careen headlong towards College Station in the state 7-on-7 tournament. And then back half of the show, speaking of 7-on-7, Matt Stepp was all the way out in El Paso for 7-on-7 action and caught up with the new head coach of El Paso Franklin, the Cougars, Coach Ruben Torres, returning to El Paso to take over a high-profile job out there in the Sun City. We will hear from him coming up here at the back half of the program. Does that sound good?
Sounds great to me.
Do we first four through the door?
We do. We have Ashley Pickle in the chat saying facilities. You trying to be like Brian?
Basically.
Matt Stepp and Kyle Ramsey.
What's up, guys? We appreciate you spending a little bit of your day with us. All right. Let's get to some headlines from across the state of Texas. And unfortunately, we have to start with some very sad news that came down last week while I was gone. And certainly we had it covered at TexasFootball.com. And very unexpected. Byron Nelson head coach Travis Pride has died. Travis Pride, a young man, a guy who has helped to build Byron Nelson over to one of the top programs in DFW over the past 9 seasons, including going 64-42. He also spent time at Wichita Falls and Mansfield Summit. He died suddenly last week, according to Northwest ISD Communication. This is a guy who was an assistant coach on multiple state championship teams there at South Lake Carroll in the early 2000s. And it has been just an outpouring of support from the Texas high school football community in remembering Travis Pride, a guy who it sure seems like, in our interactions with him, he was always extremely, extremely generous with his time, loved his players, loved his program, and a guy who you would be hard-pressed to find somebody who has something bad to say about him. There was a lot of outpouring of support. There's a quote, actually, that Matt Stepp got from Mike Alexander, who's the head coach at Flower Mount Marcus. Said, quote, "Coach Pride was as good as gold. He was a good man, and my heart hurts for his family and kids at Byron." It's very, very sad. Sudden passing of Travis Pride, the head coach at Byron Nelson. Certainly, we're thinking about not just his family, but the entire Byron Nelson family of what's going on there. It's terribly, terribly tragic as Byron Nelson head coach Travis Pride has suddenly passed away. We are working on getting more information as far as services or what people can do to help. We'll have that covered on TexasFootball.com. But Travis Pride has died suddenly there at Byron Nelson. We are certainly keeping the entire Northwest ISD family as well as Coach Pride's family in our thoughts moving forward. There's no real good way to pivot out of that, so let's just put hard divide. Let's all admit that's terrible. And now we'll talk about something that is not as important, but obviously is very relevant here on a football show, and we'll talk about some other coaching changes from across the state of Texas. One of them went down in Lubbock. We talked about at Lubbock Monterey has been looking for a head coach after Judd Thrash was out after 3 seasons there with Monterey. They have found a new head coach, and it's a guy that we talked about on Tep and Step VNA. You and I and Step talked about this.
Yes.
They have promoted their offensive coordinator Jason Sims to be their next head coach. Jason Sims is a guy who was the head coach at he was the head coach at Childress for a long time. He has that 147 record overall. He led Quanah from 2010 to 2014. He led them to 3 regional semifinal appearances before going to Childress. He left Childress under what we could describe to be some rather mysterious circumstances and not having to do with Coach Sims. Frankly, it kind of seems like he got a raw deal there at Childress. He was at Mount Pleasant for a year before going to Lubbock Monterey. This always had to be the hire, in my opinion. Once they needed a head coach, and especially they needed a head coach in short order, you've got a guy who's extremely successful everywhere he's been, who already knows the program because he was the offensive coordinator last year in Jason Sims. This was a layup, but layups are worth 2 points too. And so they did the right thing. Lubbock Monterey has promoted Jason Sims to be their next head coach. That is absolutely the right move, in my opinion. I think that there's no doubt about that. That was first reported by the way of Randy Rosetta from Hub City Preps. That happened last week on Tuesday afternoon. Elsewhere, and this one kind of came out of nowhere, but a friend of Dave Campbell's Texas Football is on the move, and as a result, it has caused a pretty big job to be open in the DFW Metroplex, and that is that Kendall Miller, the head coach at Frisco Emerson, is leaving to become the new athletic director at Plano ISD. Long story short, Lonnie Jordan left Plano ISD as their athletic director to become the Richardson ISD athletic director. Plano ISD has been looking for an athletic director, and Kendall Miller, a former THSCA president and a guy who is a darn good ball coach, says, all right, I'm going to move into an administrative role. What is interesting about this is not a coaching role. He is just over all of Plano ISD as their athletic director. So he's coming off of the sideline and moving into the corner office there at Plano. He's got a sparkling record. He's done fantastic stuff there, including they went 12-3, won a regional title back in 2023. He's 101-58 overall. He really first made his name at South Oak Cliff before he became the head coach at Garland Lakeview Centennial, before getting the job there at Frisco Emerson, where he has helped to build that program into a real powerhouse there in Frisco ISD. Very interesting. Anytime you talk about, again, congratulations to Coach Miller on this job. Whenever you have a vacancy this late in the game, like you have here at Frisco Emerson, I always think you got to think internal. You got to think promoting from within, somebody who understands the program, because it's going to be hard to go out there and do a job search because school's out. Right? And so I would anticipate them to look internally here, but he had a quote that he told Matt Stepp in our article on TexasFootball.com. He says, quote, "To be honest, I'm a little scared of walking off the field after 26 years of coaching, but I'm looking forward to the next challenge. This is the next step in my career path. And in recent years, I started looking at maybe becoming an athletic director if the right fit came, and Plano ISD is a premier destination." We certainly wish him the best. Defensive coordinator Lee Ellis will be the interim head coach at Emerson, so promoting from within. But that is a huge move there, as Frisco Emerson will have a new head coach, Lee Ellis, after Kendall Miller departs to become Plano ISD's athletic director. Elsewhere, and this came down, I believe, yesterday. This was late breaking here. Pflugerville Weiss has found their new head coach. Pflugerville Weiss has hired Malcolm Hill to be their next head coach. Malcolm Hill has most recently been the head coach or been the offensive coordinator at Prosper. He's also known as he's from the Frisco area, so he's moving from Frisco down to the Central Texas area. But he played ball at Frisco Liberty before he went, and he played cornerback at Rice. He is a guy who was a Rice Owl. After a strong career there at Frisco Liberty, he went and kind of bounced around the college ranks before coming back to the high school ranks, and had spent some time under Coach Joe McBride at Coppell before bouncing around, and now will leave his post as offensive coordinator at Prosper to be the new head coach at Pflugerville Weiss. That job came open, you may remember, when Vernon Hughes departed to take over at Mesquite Horn. So that kind of closes that loop. Pflugerville Weiss's new head coach, Malcolm Hill. I think you can expect some points. Prosper tends to be very good, at least under Malcolm Hill, very big up front, and very strong offensively. Like, they like to play a little bully ball. So I'm interested to see if that works there at Pflugerville Weiss. Finally, I want to invite you to go to TexasFootball.com to see all of the latest news and notes from the state 7-on-7 action. There are tons of qualifiers. This past weekend was nuts across the state of Texas. I won't go through all of them. You can see all the teams that have qualified for the State 7-on-7 tournament. And, of course, that is coming up. The State 7-on-7 tournament is coming up at the end of the month, and we will have wall-to-wall coverage here on TexasFootball.com and on our streaming platforms. Very excited to bring you wall-to-wall coverage of the State 7-on-7 tournament. We are the official host on TexasFootball.com of the State 7-on-7 website. So all the information you need for the State 7-on-7 tournament, you can find out at TexasFootball.com. But tons of qualifiers this past weekend and more qualifiers coming up this weekend. So stay tuned for that. If you're jonesing for a little football, you've got 7-on-7 coming your way. Those are all the headlines. You got anything else? And did I miss anything? What did you want to say? What was your headline? What was your headline for the weekend?
Headline for the weekend?
Yeah.
Nothing much.
Okay. Nothing much. Breaking news. Nothing much from Vianney Moreno. We're at Texas Football Today. We're here Mondays and Thursdays on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. I want to talk about something that's been really exciting around here, and that is our partnership with our friends at Ford. Ford Motor Company and your North Texas Ford, or your Texas Ford dealers have announced an expanded sponsorship of the UIL State Championships, solidifying Ford as the official automotive sponsor of the UIL. As part of the new commitment, Ford will now support all UIL extracurricular activities, including athletic, academic, and music state championship competitions. In addition to the sponsorship, Ford is celebrating the 20th anniversary of the prestigious Built Ford Tough Player of the Week Award and Player of the Year Award. This campaign has become one of the most celebrated in Texas high school sports, recognizing standout athletes, student athletes, for their on-field performance, leadership, and commitment to excellence. Ford will honor some of the most decorated players who have received the award over the years, with a special focus being on their achievements both in high school and beyond. Guys like Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray, all former Built Ford Tough Players of the Year, and we're partnering with them to amplify that. Dave Campbell's Texas Football, we're going to be amplifying the celebration through our partnership through all of our different platforms, so Texan Live, as well as here on this program and over the course of our social media as well, and TexasFootball.com. We're really, really excited to be partnering with Ford to help celebrate all of the things in Texas high school sports across the landscape. So more to come on that. There's more information on TexasFootball.com, but we're so thrilled to announce that partnership in Texas and the Texas Ford Dealers' expanded partnership as the official automotive sponsor of or partner of the UIL State Championships. We certainly are very, very excited about the future there. Coming up here in just a moment, out in El Paso, there's a new head coach of the El Paso Franklin Cougars. Matt Stepp caught up with the head coach Ruben Torres, but first a word from these valued partners.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Potter, Executive Director of Be Well Texas. Too many people are struggling alone these days, and alcohol and drug deaths are increasing. We started Be Well Texas to offer high-quality, science-based addiction treatment and recovery services anywhere, even at home. We provide compassionate, caring support virtually or in person. In many cases, there is no cost for treatment if you don't have insurance. Really. Welcome to Be Well Texas. We're glad you're here.
Hey DFW residents, get your grocery essentials in minutes, not hours or days, with Wing Drone Delivery. Forget about last-minute trips to the store when you need things like cereal for breakfast before school, medicine for a cold, or snacks for a movie night. Wing's drones get you quick, no-contact delivery in as fast as 15 minutes. Say goodbye to last-minute grocery runs and say hello to more of your valuable time. Sign up today.
Joined out here by Hayden Gunner at Denton High School. Man, it's a big day for you. You got your decision coming right now.
After a lot of thinking, with the family talking, stressing out.
Let's see exactly where Malik Hawkins is going to be heading.
First off, I want to start by thanking God. Without him, I wouldn't be anything. I wouldn't be blessed with all these opportunities.
Got 5 schools he's choosing between. We're about to find out who it's going to be. Got your teammates, coaches, family, friends surrounding you, so you couldn't have a bigger stage right here to announce it on. So without further ado, we're going to go to the man right here, Kobe Foreman. Who's it going to be?
I will be attending.
I'll be committed to the University of Oklahoma.
University of Texas A&M.
Stanford University.
The University of Oklahoma.
Every legend starts with a vision. For Dave Campbell, that vision was clear. Tell the story of Texas football like never before. In 1960, he built something no one had before, a magazine that became the Bible of Texas football. Coaches, players, and fans didn't just read it, they lived by it. His words shaped the game. His vision built a legacy. And his name? It will always be written in the story of Texas football. Dave Campbell's Texas Football, where legends begin.
Matt Stepp, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, back here at the El Paso 7-on-7 state qualifier tournament. I'm here with the new head coach of the Franklin Cougars, Coach Ruben Torres, whose team is not playing here today, but they will be in this tournament next year. Coach, first off, congratulations on the new gig.
Thank you very much. I'm real excited to be back home and be a part of Franklin again.
You know, when the job opened up, I kind of thought you might be a candidate for the job, considering that, what the things you had done, when you left El Paso, went to Marlin, and you were there at Naaman Forest and Coach Perales. When the job opened up and you threw your name in the hat, what made El Paso Franklin a good fit for you?
Well, when I left to go to Marlin, one thing I always said is if I was ever going to come back to El Paso, it would be for Franklin if it ever opened up. And I didn't really expect it to open up this quickly, but it did. And so an opportunity to get back with my kids, and then, of course, Franklin, which I think is a premier high school in Texas, especially in 6A. So I just felt like it was the right time and the right fit, and threw my name in the hat, and everything worked out.
And, Franklin, I talked to a lot of people around town, and everybody tells you Franklin, has a chance consistently to year in and year out be one of the top teams in not only El Paso, but in West Texas. When you look at Franklin, and you've been there as an assistant coach, what makes it such a unique place?
Well, I think the community, number one. Franklin's a very special place, and my time being there, I got to see that firsthand. Just the work ethic of the kids and the community support, and then the standard. When you really look at it from the first head coach there, Milton Henry, and then Tony Grijalva, and then Darren Walker, it's been a high bar since the school opened. And so my task now is to go in and raise that bar and really preach excellence to our kids, and then see if we could take it to the next level.
And Franklin's had success. This track season, they were unbelievable. I watched them at the regional track meet, win the regional track meet, and they went down to Austin and did some great things. So we know the raw material is there. A lot of times track does translate onto the football field. You're in a little bit of a transition now. You haven't officially started yet, but I know you've had a chance to get in front of your kids and meet them. And I know summer strength and conditioning is going to be big. But what was your message to your guys when you first got in front of them?
Well, I think the first thing, given everything that's happened, it is a unique situation for me and for them. But I'm really proud of the kids and the coaches that were there and helping these kids through this transition period. But my message was very simple. Like, we need to hit the reset button, get back to work, give them the understanding that, we're going to have a new standard, raise the bar, and excellence is what we demand. And so there's no easy way out. We're going to have to get our head to the grindstone and put in a lot of work this summer and get better. But, 6-4 is not good enough. Our expectations are higher. And if we really want to be one of the perennials in West Texas, not just El Paso, it takes a lot of work. And so the kids have been real receptive. I think we have a really great group with a solid foundation. And so now it's just time to take it to the next step.
And, in your time there at Marlin, you were part of a team that played in a state semifinals and was on the brink of getting to a state championship game. So you've been, even though it's a small school, I think good football is still good football. When you talk to people, there's a difference between a good team and a great team. And I know that those teams at Marlin you had were great teams. What separates being good from great?
Number one is discipline. And when I spoke with our coaches and even through the interview process, what I did learn at Marlin and being out there in East Texas and the Metroplex and Waco is, I think there's 4 things that all great teams do, and that's play great run defense, tackle extremely well, run the ball on offense, and being disciplined with great effort on special teams. And so going out to Marlin and Central Texas really opened up my eyes. I had never been that deep in the playoffs. And coming from West Texas, I didn't understand the difference between 2A, 3A here and over there. And as you know, when you get into Central Texas, you have 2A, 3A, even 4A powerhouses out there that
got D1 kids, right?
Yeah, a lot of D1 kids that honestly, I felt like our teams in Marlin, could compete for one game at the 6A level against some teams. So it was an eye-opening experience for me. I definitely grew as a coach, but going on those playoff runs, you know, every game is a new experience. And so I think understanding that and getting to meet great coaches out there and compete against great coaches has really given me the tools to be a better coach and prepare this team for what it takes, not just to win here locally, but beyond.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, you know, coaching, you know, a lot of guys that coach in 6A never get a chance to coach in 2A. And I was going to ask you, you know, do you feel like having that chance to coach in a small school where you've only got 25, 28 guys on a full roster, do you feel like that made you a better coach? And I think you kind of answered that because you have to do things a little bit differently. Is there anything you could take from that experience being at the 2A level and maybe apply it in a 6A manner there at Franklin?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, one of the biggest things, like you talked about numbers, is how do you keep kids healthy? And then a lot of teams out there, you know, they're so good at scheme. So your ability to teach as a coach has got to grow and be spot on. And so I definitely learned a lot about that on how to keep our kids healthy. And then even the mindset of preparing to play 16 weeks, you know, that's the goal. And that kind of takes a different approach when you look at your off season, your pre-district. Instead of preparing for 10 games, you know, keeping those kids healthy to prepare for the chance to play 16. And we got close a couple times, but I think that was huge for us and huge for me for my development as a coach.
There he is, the new head coach of the Franklin Cougars there on the west side of El Paso, Coach Ruben Torres. Coach, appreciate your time. Congratulations again, and hopefully we'll see you down the road.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
There he is, Ruben Torres, new head coach of the El Paso Franklin Cougars, taking over for Darren Walker, who was there for 18 seasons, I believe. And his journey is really fascinating. He was out there at El Paso, where he was in El Paso originally, right? He was in El Paso originally. Then he went out to Marlin, took a job at Marlin, where he was really strong there. He went to go be the offensive coordinator for Jesse Perales at Garland Naaman Forest, which is, he's, by the way, another El Paso guy. And now he's heading back to El Paso to take over the program there at Franklin, which, if you listen to Tep and Step, which you should, you know that Step and I were talking about how that's one of the very best jobs there in El Paso. So excited to see what he does there with the Cougars. We appreciate his time, Coach Ruben Torres, or not his brother, Mark Torres, who's the head coach at Buda Hayes. But appreciate his time catching with Matt Stepp out there in the Sun City. Let's go over to Vianney Moreno for America's second favorite segment, Final Thoughts. I will get good at this again, I promise.
Better than you. Just kidding. I wish I was in El Paso.
I do too, just generally.
Man.
Generally, the vibes are very strong in El Paso.
Vibes are strong.
The vibes are strong. You get like a bonus hour because of the mountain time.
Yes.
Like, that's cool.
The best thing ever.
A lot of good things there in El Paso.
And obviously, I'm from over there, so.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, because your family's from Chihuahua, right?
Chihuahua.
Yes, which is, that's in that kind of.
Juarez.
Yeah,
yes.
there you go. Exactly right.
I got a camp picture.
Oh, do you? All right, as promised, we're going to pay this off from the pre-show. We were talking earlier about where I was going. There you go.
That's cool.
That's me in the blue shirt. In 2004.
Oh wait, yes.
That's me in the blue shirt.
Oh.
Yeah.
My goodness.
The gentleman to the right there is a gentleman named Travis, a good buddy of mine. He was on staff this year as well. Like, there's still guys that are still cooking.
This is awesome.
In that group. So there you go.
I love that.
2004, Greg.
Oh my goodness. I should have.
So I might have just turned 18.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Don't do the math. It's very troubling if you do the math.
Guys being dudes.
Just guys being dudes.
Oh my
What's
goodness.
better than this? There's also a lot of promising young women there too, I should say. Like it's young men and young women that are there.
That's awesome.
But got boys cabins and girls cabins, stuff
That's
like
awesome.
that.
03. I was 3 years old.
Very cool. That's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Thanks again to Ruben Torres, head coach of the El Paso Franklin Cougars, for being our guest. For Vianney Moreno, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please come get your Player of the Year trophy. We will see you Thursday on Texas Football Today.
Bye.